Like, give me a minute. Shit, I take off my entire top. I'm like... What's good, you guys? It's Anna. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas with all your loved ones, and thank you so much for being loyal, my little 90 subscribers or whatever. Thank you so much for, you know, just being real, keeping it real with your girl, whatever. In today's video, I wanted to do a story time of something that happened to me about 6 months ago. This was around the summertime, and this was honestly one of the scariest things that has happened to me all of 2019. I'm gonna tell y'all, this year was kind of rough. I'm not even gonna lie. I went through so many, you know, events, and I was put in so many circumstances that I was just like shook. I'm gonna go ahead and get started with the story time. I normally always gravitate towards piercings. I have 8 piercings. Most of them are in my ears, or on my ears, and then I have my belly pierced, right? So I was in the mood to get a piercing, but I didn't really know what I wanted to get. So I was like, you know what? I'm about to get my tongue pierced. Now, the tongue piercings, I think, are so freaking sexy. And I've always wanted a tongue piercing ever since I was like 13 years old. But of course, being 13, my mama's not going to take me to go get a tongue piercing. And I just, like, I was honestly also very scared. So I wasn't going to do it. So I usually go to this piercing parlor. They're super professional, super, you know, they know what they're doing. I trust the manager. The manager had just done my conch piercing like a couple months prior. So I was like, bet, I'm gonna go to him and I'm gonna have him just pierce my tongue. So, you know, I'm trying to document myself. I'm trying to, you know, see some videos, read some forums, but you know how piercings kind of come with trends. Like, it was a time when like it was a time when like the nose piercing was trendy, and then what other, like the tragus piercing was trendy. You know, the tongue piercing is a little bit outdated. I feel like it was much more popular back in the day. So it was really hard for me to just be informed overall about, you know, the procedures on how to take care of the piercing or whatever. So, or like the pain and stuff like that. So I was just really going into it not really knowing much, which is my biggest mistake. I was on my way to the piercing place by my lonely. I didn't want to go with anybody else. And so I'm there and I'm waiting, and I see the manager, the same person who had pierced my conch. And I was like, all right, bet, I'm here to get my tongue piercing. And they were like, you know what, I can't do it for you right now, because I don't really know what they were doing at the time. They were like, I'm going to send you to my other piercer. And I was like kind of nervous. And then he was like, don't worry, you're in the best hands. I'm there, and it's a woman. And I thought it was cool because I usually always get pierced by men, so I was just really excited that, you know, I was gonna get pierced by a woman or whatever. So, you know, I'm very friendly, I'm very social, so she's on there, you know, she's getting her stuff prepared, and I'm just trying to make conversation with her. I'm not really trying to get to know her, but like I'm just really trying to talk to her. We're kikiing here and there, you know, and I feel much more comfortable you know, since I started making conversation with her. And so one of the first things that she did actually to get me prepared for the piercing was just dry my tongue. She got a paper towel and she just patted all on my tongue, and that was one of the weirdest sensations ever. Like, I don't know if y'all ever had a dry ass tongue, but that shit was uncomfortable. And I was just there like, okay. Mind you, I'm wearing like a sweater kind of hoodie situation like this, because when I'm about to get pierced or when I'm about to get, you know, blood drawn out, I get the chills and I get really cold. So I always go to, you know, to those kind of places with a sweater. My tongue is already dry. She's about to, like, you know, insert the needle, but she's not really using like the tongs, or maybe she did at first, but then she thought it was probably like uncomfortable. So she was just like, she just wanted my tongue to be out. Like, she just wanted me to have my tongue out like this, so she could just, you know, like whatever. After I realized that that's just very important, because you're just supposed to hold the tongue so it could just, you know, whatever. So I'm just there, and I guess she keeps telling me that I keep on pushing my tongue inwards, so like basically inside my mouth. And she's like, you know what, like I can't, you know, she's complaining to me about it. She's like, mama, you have to stop doing that. Like, you're making it hard for me to get the piercing done. And I'm here getting nervous because, I mean, if I was doing that, it's obviously out of instinct. I'm not doing that on purpose. Like, I want it to be as quick as possible. So I'm just here nervous or whatever. So, you know, I'm here trying my best. I stick my tongue out, and she, you know, I see her, you know, sticking the needle in. Right, so the needle is already in my tongue, and I feel so much more, you know, I'm calmed down because we got, you know, we started the show is starting. So I'm there, and all of a sudden I see her struggling, and I'm like, what? I'm like, you know, I'm just there like, what the hell is going on? And she was like, I can't see the other end of where the needle is supposed to come out of, so like I can't finish it. And I was like, fuck. And I was just trying to stay, you know, stay still. But the moment this lady tells me that there's a needle inside my tongue and that she doesn't know how to get it out through the opposite end so she could pull the jewelry, I'm just starting to get even more nervous, you know. So I'm just there panicking, and I'm like, you know what, like, just give me a second. Like, I'm starting to sweat, like I feel hot. So she backs away, she removes the needle, she gets me to rinse my tongue again, whatnot, and I'm getting hot, like I'm sweating, and I'm like, give me a minute. Shit, I take off my entire top. I'm like, I'm sweating, I'm sorry. Like, the curtain was closed, so, you know, woman to woman, I'm gonna have my titties out. Period. And so I took off my sweater, and I was like, okay, like I feel much, you know, like, you know, I'm starting to get, you know, I'm starting to feel a breeze or whatever. I'm fine. I don't have, you know, the hots anymore. And so she proceeds to, you know, do the piercing, you know, the second time's the charm, or so I thought. And it did not hurt at all. Granted, I basically got my tongue pierced like 1.5 times or whatever, because I mean, the first time the needle didn't go through entirely, and the second time it obviously did. I'm gonna insert pictures and actual live footage of me with my piercing. So I just got back from the piercing place. That is my new tongue ring. In my last vlog, I mentioned how like my tongue was swelling up, and then so what I tried to do is just kind of keep my mouth closed so my tongue can just form to the shape of like my mouth, so it won't like swell. Like, so big mistake. I don't know who told me to do that. I don't know what medical degree I suddenly got all of a sudden. Big mistake. I literally started getting like little, and you can like, it's obvious that it's like around the shapings of like the shape of my teeth, like around the, I don't know if you guys can see, but like on this side is fine. Like I started noticing like teeth marks on this side like around the first day. Now I don't have anything anymore. Now this side was fucked, and you can still kind of see like, and it was because I tried to keep my mouth closed for such a long period of time. But I mean, this is what I'm guessing it is. It's going away, so obviously like it's not an issue, because I had it on both sides and now I don't have it on one side, and then I'm trying to like cure the other side with like ice or whatever. But essentially what I think happened was my tongue was obviously swelling up, and it was just with my teeth, and I just started getting bite marks on the side of my tongue. I was scared. Unfortunately, I do not have a lot of pictures with my piercing, and I'm gonna get to that in a second. I got home, I immediately started making my little popsicles. They tell you always to, you know, be drinking cold stuff to like help with the swelling. So immediately I just made like some popsicles, and I was dead ass just eating popsicles like for days. Every morning I would wake up, go to the mirror in my bathroom, and kind of do like a little vlog situation to monitor the healing process of my tongue. And because, you know, I wanted to be in everyone's face on some shit, you feel me, I, you know, wanted to heal my tongue quickly so I could just show it off. And so I knew that I had to be on my A game when it came to like cleanliness. I mean, I'm pretty, you know, when it comes to washing my mouth and stuff like that, like, you know, I'm not no dirty bitch. Like, I be, you know, doing the damn thing. But I knew that I had to OD on it if I wanted my tongue to heal quicker. I started noticing that my piercing, like the bar, was sinking into the piercing wound. Things start getting a little bit concerning. Let's pretend that this part of my hand is the open, like the wound opening, right? And so the piercing was kind of like sunken into the wound. It kind of looked like a crater. And if you're someone out there watching this video that wants to get their tongue pierced or whatever, you can look up like tongue piercing craters and you'll kind of have an idea of what it is I'm talking about. Nonetheless, I will have pictures on this video. So it started forming like a crater, and I was just like, what the hell? And I wasn't really thinking much of it, because depending on how I moved my tongue, then the barbell will stick up and I could see it. Usually piercers pierce you with a long barbell in order to prevent, you know, things like that happening. And I'm sure she did pierce me with a long barbell. It was just my tongue was swelling uncontrollably. But it wasn't uncomfortable or anything. It wasn't up until the end of the 4th day and maybe like the beginning of the 5th day that, you know, I was actually starting to get really concerned, because my tongue was like bleeding and it was just very uncomfortable, despite me, you know, cleaning it, you know, to the best of my ability. I still have my little bruise. I had decided by the end of the 5th day that I was gonna go see the piercer again on the 6th day. And I just wanted to get like an update, kind of like their professional input on how they thought my piercing was doing. A tongue piercing heals relatively quickly. I was very concerned at that moment, like precisely on the 6th day, because of the fact that I was really expecting it to be fine by like the 7th or 8th day, and it was acting up by the 6th day. I go out there and I'm trying to talk to the manager, and again, he's busy for whatever reason, and so he refers me to the lady who pierced my piercing, who just so happened to be there again. She takes a look at it, and what she told me blew me. It blew me, because when I tell you, like, I was seconds away every day from like fucking putting Clorox on that bitch just so I could make sure that it was as clean as possible. I was really on it. I bought the mouthwash that they always recommend at the piercing parlor, but then on top of that, I also bought a mouthwash from CVS, you know, without alcohol, because that's what they recommend, just to make sure that, you know, because I was really rinsing my mouth on an hourly basis, like hourly. So I was just really confused and taken aback when she tells me that my tongue was infected. And I was like, excuse me, infected how? She basically tells me that my mouth was rejecting the piercing. It could have been for a plethora of reasons. It could have been the jewelry. It could have been, you know, that I didn't take care of it. Whatever the case may be, my mouth was rejecting the piercing. And I was just like very, very bummed, because I mean, I already had spent the money, and I didn't want to get my tongue re-pierced for like a 2nd or a 3rd time, because it was just annoying. Like, I don't want to, it's like taxing on me. Like, I don't want to do that. And she essentially told me that I just had to go home and remove the piercing. And I was like, baby, that's what I'm not gonna do. You know, I'm gonna pay you whatever it is y'all charge to remove a piercing, but I'm not gonna do it myself, because not only did it freaking hurt, but like I said, the ball itself was sunken into like the wound. Like, my tongue was basically swallowing that shit up. And I was just like, I was just so disappointed, so like bummed, so everything. And she takes off, she removes a piercing for me, and she's like, oh, we usually charge $10 for this, but I'm gonna do it to you for free. I'm going to my car, I'm all upset, I'm disappointed, I'm kind of sad, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I deadass just did it to, I got my tongue pierced just to suffer, because I couldn't even flex it, I couldn't even be cute with it, I couldn't feel myself with it, because I deadass just had it just to like heal it and then just take it out. It was so annoying, and I was so annoyed. And I'm sitting in my car, and all of a sudden, like, everything just starts replaying in my head, and I'm like, you know what, there's something wrong about this. Like, I'm gonna go to another parlor, and I'm just gonna get a second opinion of someone different and see what they tell me about the condition of my tongue. Because at this point, even though the jewelry itself was out, like, my tongue still looked kind of like, you know, kind of weird. And I mean, granted, this is my tongue right now. She's good, you know. But at the time, she was looking a little bit like she was stressed, you know, she was going through a lot. So I told them the situation. I told them that I just came from this place and I had to remove my tongue piercing. So basically what happened was, she pierced my tongue too far back. So let's pretend these 2 fingers are my tongue, right? Like, these 2 fingers are my tongue. A tongue piercing is supposed to just go vertically down. Like, this is exactly how a tongue piercing is supposed to look, right? My tongue piercing, however, looked like this. Like, it was extremely slanted. The ball of the barbell was sitting right here on my mouth, like back there, like super close to the web. Like, I could not see the bar from the bottom and barely even from the top. The way that it was sweating up, it was essentially gonna swell up and heal over the piercing itself. Like, it was basically gonna swallow the barbell, the entire barbell, the long ass thick ass barbell. And when he told me that, I was so, like, I was just so livid. If you're gonna be a piercer, I feel like you have to be prepared to pierce someone who's nervous, because that's normal. Like, no one is gonna, like, 9 times out of 10, people are not just gonna be sitting there and, like, you know, motionless and not nervous when they're about to get a piercing. Some piercers don't even pierce if you're too jittery or whatever the case may be. And he told me that, you know, when you're gonna do a tongue piercing, you got, like, you know, the most important thing is the tongs or the little scissor things, whatever that they put on your tongue. You gotta press it real hard and firm. I mean, not real hard and firm, but interestingly enough, people say that that's actually what hurts the most when you're getting the piercing done. And I agree, because, I mean, she didn't even use it on me, but the needle going through, it didn't hurt at all. So he basically told me that that's what's supposed to hurt the most, like controlling the tongue and holding it firmly so that you're able to pierce it correctly. But she didn't do that. And so he told me that had I not, you know, taken out the jewelry, you know, in the time that I did, then my tongue would have essentially healed over the barbell, and I basically would have had that jewelry stuck inside of my tongue. I would have had to go to the hospital, and I could have possibly died. I literally almost died for a $50 piercing that I didn't even get to feel good in, because I didn't even have the opportunity. It didn't even give me the chance. It didn't give me the chance. Please, please, if you're gonna get any kinds of body modification, any kind of tattoos, any kind of piercing, please inform yourself on what it is you're getting and where it is that you're getting at, because you could be super knowledgeable about, you know, what the process is, but you might get stuck with an inexperienced piercer and then end up like me. You guys have a wonderful holidays and an amazing new year. I'll see you guys in the next one.